of the interesting part about the aviation industry right now is about the non-availability of some of its spare parts, which is affecting the supply chain of all this aviation industry. It's very important to make sure that maybe for MRO services, maybe for building new aircrafts, you need to have some of these parts available right at the place it is needed. TWS is a German company, local traditional company, courier company here in Frankfurt and Hamburg. They are focusing on AOG, aircraft on ground operations. They help companies to move these spare parts, aeronautical spare parts, in the first mile. Hi all, this is Libin Chacko Kurian from the Star Trade Times. We are here in Munich, Germany for Air Cargo Europe and the Transport Logistics exhibitions. Right now I'm joined by the regional manager for the Northern Germany for TWS. Thank you so much for joining us today, Leo.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's great.
Thank you. Take me through the company, the TWS, what you really do here you are responsible for the Hamburg station, but take me through what your company really does and why it is specialized on one single thing.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, our company is more or less a traditional courier company, meaning we operate on the ground and mainly locally around our two stations in Frankfurt and Hamburg. That's by far not all we do, but it's a big part of our business. And more or less the development of the company has gotten us to a point after 18 years where one of the biggest niches that we are in and the biggest parts of our business is the AOG business. That means moving aircraft spare parts out of the supplier's warehouse and feeding them into the air cargo system as quickly, as reliably as possible, and obviously as efficiently as possible for our customers.
Now, take me through how you do that. For example, what are the type of vehicles that you have? How you make sure that you deal with the suppliers? For example, Airbus. How you make sure that these spare parts are moved at the right time, at the right place?
So, yes, for that, it would be important to note that our customers are usually air cargo agents that sell an entire transport chain to their customer, and the customer will be then that person that needs the part in order to fix an aircraft, for example, right? And the air cargo agent then would ask us to complete the first mile locally because we are very well oriented in our region and we know all of the suppliers and how their processes work. So, for example, in Hamburg, there's about, I would say, 15 to 20 different suppliers of aircraft spare parts. Some of them are very well known, some a little bit less, but that doesn't matter. Each of these pickup stations has their own little processes and their own procedures that you have to go through to even retrieve a part. And it's very critical to know the process because that's where you can lose a lot of time, which in the first mile is important. You may miss your flight that has been planned by your customer or by the agent, and that would obviously then lead to a delay in the shipment, which in the time-sensitive sector, as we all know, is more or less the worst case that can happen. So making sure that we know the processes at the pickup location is one of the most important parts, and then obviously a correct tender to the according airline with all the documentation in place and everything the way it's supposed to be, also at the other end, which is the delivery, and then for us, the end of the transport in that case.
Why TWS decided to focus on this niche area is one thing, and also how you build that expertise. I believe there is a good team that is behind these processes.
Exactly. So it's a company that's 18 years old and originated around Frankfurt Airport and has just grown into, if you will, exactly this branch. In Frankfurt, the biggest and most obvious supplier there would be Lufthansa Technik, who have a big, actually more than one big location around Frankfurt Airport. And also in Frankfurt, there are other suppliers in that field. And it's just a source of aircraft spare parts. And the growth into that has been more or less organic, if you will, and that's become the heart of the company, is this fast pace that we move at and the reliability and the experience we bring that makes it a reliable and a quick product for the customer.
Okay, you're responsible for the Hamburg station. Tell me about what is happening over there. That's a new one for you, for the company, from Frankfurt and now Hamburg, and you're handling that, the station. It's only a few years old. Give me an idea about what is happening over there and how your one day would look like.
So yes, Hamburg we opened 1.5 years ago about. It's a spin-off, more or less a copy, if you will, of the Frankfurt station. It was an obvious choice regarding Hamburg is a big source of aircraft spare parts as well, because we all know, you just mentioned Airbus and others are there. So for me, my typical day, or let's say rather for my operational colleagues, a typical day would be receiving orders from our customers. That's still typically an email saying, hey, I need this and that part retrieved from this and that location, and tendered to airline X. Please find attached the paperwork. So as I mentioned, they book the rest of the transport. Please find attached the airway bill, the labels, the customs documentation, whatever may be necessary to get this shipment moving, maybe dangerous goods declaration, something like this. And so what we do is we dispatch immediately a driver and then retrieve the shipment with the references provided by the customer. And then we tender the shipment to the airline. And this all happens within a couple of minutes, depending on where exactly the location of the warehouse is. But if the chances are right, we can have this whole transport done with under an hour sometimes. And then obviously, if it's further away, we have to drive a little bit, it can be a couple of hours. It all depends on what exactly the pickup location is. And then obviously how quickly we can get the shipment released and tendered to the airline. But we move as quickly as possible to make that happen. And this, yeah, basically that's more or less what we do all day, over and over and over, with all kinds of different pickup locations, different customers, and different airlines that we tender to.
What is the biggest challenge in moving these aircraft parts in the first mile as such?
I would say the biggest challenge really is the pickup procedures and the pickup processes and differences in the shippers. So knowing exactly when shipper A, for example, has some special vehicle requirements that you must have a separate cab from your loading area, and they're very strict about this, and they may turn your vehicle away and you have to dispatch a new vehicle, which is going to cost you an hour or more, can be a disastrous error to make if your customer is on an AOG shipment right now. A different one may be a different requirement may be that your driver must have a German or EU license, for example, that they are able to present. They can't use any other license. So there are just the small things that you would consider irrelevant in everyday life, but that will put you to a dead halt. You have to know the pickup references, for example. Some customer may send you to retrieve a shipment with a pickup reference that I, on first sight, can tell is not the correct reference. Because we know every single shipper, and we know this shipper has a reference beginning with 101. This shipper has a reference beginning with 87. This one has one beginning with 524, so on and so forth. And so I can tell the customer at first glance, within seconds, I'm happy to do the transport for you. I'm going to need the reference, and you don't have the right one. But the one I'm looking for begins with 524. If you don't have an experienced courier who knows this exactly for every location, you're going to lose a lot of time for basically nothing if it could have been easily spotted in the first place.
This is a very time-sensitive kind of operation. How do you make sure that you are really fast and really responsive to some of these bookings? Once you get a booking, what is the procedure that you have?
Well, the procedure that we have is booking it into our system, obviously, and then dispatching our drivers. We're actually a fairly small company if you count the people in it. We have a fleet of five vehicles, and the drivers accordingly. And then we have a dispatch of currently 4 people. So we're about to hire the 10th colleague on the team. And then we have another person in the warehouse operating an X-ray. Really what makes us fast, I believe, is an all hands on deck mentality. We all understand that it's now or never for every single shipment. There is no such thing like deprioritizing something. Everything we do has to go right now. And that's really a personal thing of the team, to select the people that are willing to live this day by day because they enjoy doing it and for no other reason, not because they have to or not because they feel the pressure, but because they're the kind of person, no matter whether you're in the office dispatching or whether you're a driver that understands that they must let us know as soon as they're free, as soon as they've completed the job, so we can give them the next one. It's a mentality thing, I would say.
Give an idea about what is your immediate priorities right now. How is the business going on right now, and what is the future looks like?
So we are in the, I would say, fortunate position to be doing very well. Hamburg is growing very fast, which is my main concern. And we have a good foundation of customers that is growing every day and that is very, very happy with our service. I believe that we've been fortunate in that there has been a lack of that kind of service that's specialized for AOG shipments. but still operates locally while it has a global customer base. I believe that that combination has been lacking before. And I think that a lot of our customers are very happy with that. And more or less right now, word is getting around. So I'm not actually spending a lot of time cold calling, running around looking for new customers, but much rather looking for the staff that I just mentioned that has the mentality to take on the orders that are coming in so that we can onboard new customers as quickly as we can and satisfy them.
What is the future for TWS looks like? Are you planning to expand to new geographies or increase new services? What is it?
Yes, so it took us a long time to open a second office. We were 16 and a half years old by the time that we opened Hamburg. Now that Hamburg is up and running and growing, obviously that's something we're looking into, is should we be doing this at other locations? And if so, which are interesting locations in our field? Why should we do that? And those will be strategic decisions. That's not going to be happening this or next year, but it's obviously expansion is one of the things we're thinking about, yes. Meanwhile, at the stations that are established, obviously we're always looking at improving our portfolio, finding even more services that we can offer. As mentioned, we do already do X-ray, we do explosive shipments, for example, we do warehousing, we can do all kinds of different things. So we're just talking about a small portion right now. We're always looking to expand. We drive airside on both the airports, so we can deliver to technicians that are on site working on an aircraft live. And basically, I would say inventing new products, logistical products that we can provide to the customer, that some of which we didn't even know existed, that we've gotten in the portfolio in the last year. That's going to be a focus as well.
Can you also tell me about what are you hearing from your customers? What are their biggest challenges which you try to solve recently and going forward?
So especially in Hamburg, it's been leaving the airport reliably, meaning getting your shipment to fly the way you planned it. And that has, I would say, some infrastructural reasons in around Hamburg Airport, just the way it operates. It's a small airport compared to Frankfurt and other big international airports. It's fairly small, and also the cargo area is fairly small. In Hamburg, the airport at nighttime simply shuts down. The warehouse is closed, the lights go off, and there's no one there. So if you want to tender a shipment at 3 a.m. in order to catch a 9 a.m. flight, you're out of luck. So that's one of the challenges, is getting creative in how we can still get a middle of the night shipment to fly. For example, finding an effective way to get it to Frankfurt, because there you can tender in the nighttime and you may still be able to catch your international flight in the early morning, something like this. So remaining innovative and on your feet is definitely an important part. I think that's exactly what our customers require from us right now and what they appreciate about our service.
Leo, thank you so much for joining us today, and all the best.
Libin, thank you very much.